Okay, so out of camera, soundtrack, mise en scène and lighting, which one from the videos you've seen most appealed to you?
I'd say that the camera shots were probably the most appealing for me personally.
Okay, and what was it about the camera that you found effective in its area?
I like the way that you tried to show the protagonist from multiple points of view. Like you tried to establish the personality of him and make that appeal to the audience the most, so they can understand it through the narrative.
Okay, and do you think this was there a clear contrast between the first rough cut and the final cut?
Yeah, I felt in the first rough cut the camera shots that were used lasted quite a long amount of time. There wasn't that much variety, but in the final cuts you could see that there was a lot more detail that's put into it, and there was like a much greater range. So there was like a variety of close-ups and long shots to sort of show multiple sides to the protagonist, but also create some enigma and some originality to the piece. So I thought that was really important to like show the audience something original in the final cut.
Okay, was there anything that you didn't find was very effective
I'd say
in the video?
In the first rough cut and maybe in the second rough cut, there wasn't that much range of shots, which didn't really interest the audience. It didn't really give the audience much information about the character that they were seeing, so they couldn't understand him.
Okay, and lastly, if you were to take control, is there anything that you would improvise or improve in the piece that you've seen?
One of the things that I'd probably do was make sure that I shown the protagonist from his perspective, from what he could see, and also from the other character's perspective, so that I just enhanced like the thrilling atmosphere of the piece. That would probably be the only thing that I'd change.
Okay, that's brilliant, thank you. So out of camera, mise en scène, lighting and soundtrack, which one from the videos you've just seen most appealed to you?
Soundtrack.
And what was it about the soundtrack that you found most effective?
I thought it helped to build the suspense and the tension, keep me kind of watching it, because obviously being a thriller, you want to kind of build suspense and make sure that your audience are staying focused on that.
Okay, is there anything in the videos that you saw that you don't think were as effective in their areas?
I think sometimes like when you're walking around like all the time, it might have been a bit too much, like kind of just keeping me on edge. Like it needs to be kind of building it up and up and up and up, not just building it up and then leaving it
Okay, and do you think the use of the CCTV effects worked well?
Yeah, I think it did.
Help build.
It kind of, I don't know, yeah, it was good because it's like coming at it from different perspectives.
Okay, and is there anything that you personally would improve or improvise at all with the footage you've just seen if you were taking control?
I'd say you could like introduce, I don't know, maybe variations in the soundtrack a little bit more, kind of keep it.
So do you think the soundtrack that we used worked well?
Yeah, it did work, but
okay.
I'm saying like you could, to make it even better, like make it, you know, give it a bit of a kick.
Okay, that's brilliant, thank you. So from the two clips that you've just seen, out of camera, mise en scène, editing and soundtrack, which one most appealed to you?
Well, I like the mise en scène, but the camera as well.
Okay, and Josh?
I would have probably said the lighting.
Okay. Alright, Zach, what was it about the mise en scène and the camera that most appealed to you?
For the mise en scène, I really like the location.
Okay.
I thought it was in a really good place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you did that, but it was very good.
Okay.
And because it was like the office theme, and it fitted in really nicely with the story, I guess.
Okay. Josh, what was it about the lighting that you found quite effective? What was it about the lighting that appealed to you?
I think for me it really helped intensify the situation with the soundtrack and all the camera. When it focused on one particular area, the lighting changed, and that really helped intensify it.
Okay. So, what didn't you find very appealing about the videos that you saw? What was less effective, would you say?
I liked all the camera sounds and editing and lighting techniques and things, but it was the actual like story. Like it didn't make 100 complete sense. Like I didn't really see how it was going to continue into an entire film.
Okay. Josh, was there anything that you didn't find very effective?
Really, I'd actually agree with Zach. I was a bit confused with where the storyline was going at times, and that could be made a bit clearer.
And is there anything in terms of lighting that you felt maybe sort of affected the whole video and its production at all?
In some situations when the scene seems to be more intense, the lighting was quite dark, and
Okay.
obviously that would have a certain effect and would take away from it somewhat.
Alright. And is there anything that, if you had control of the group, is there anything that you would have improvised or improved to make the video any better?
I don't think I could have. I don't think I could have changed much about the camera or the lighting or anything to make it better. But as I said, like previously, you know, the story, I would have just made even just like something slight, just a reveal of maybe an antagonist or something.
And what convention would you have used to allow it to happen?
Maybe not necessarily convention, but literally just show like a hand or something or
Okay.
anything, just to like give it a bit more.
So something fairly
substance,
simple.
yeah.
Alright, yeah. And for you, Josh?
For me, possibly dim the lighting slightly more in the final scene because it seemed particularly bright then.
Okay. Alright, that's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Relating to camera, editing, sound and mise-en-scène, how do you feel we used them in our first video?
In your first video, I thought your use of camera was a bit off because I thought it didn't really work well. You didn't actually have any sound in your first video, so kind of ruined it a little bit. But I think your use of mise-en-scène was good because you had a good location which really fitted with the storyline.
Yeah. So what do you think was the strongest area and the weakest area of the first video?
Of the first video, I think the weakest area is probably your camera or sound. Both. It's pretty. It's alright. But your strongest was your use of location.
And then moving on to the second video, what do you think we did well at addressing and what are still some concerns you think?
I think from comparing to your first one, your second video worked in its camera, so the camera was a lot better and a lot smoother in that, and it actually had sound, so it just looked a lot better.
So what do you think is the number one area we need to address for the second video?
What do you mean? Like, what to improve?
What's the biggest improvement that we need to make?
Probably for the second one, your editing, to make it more smoother, because you've improved your camera shots, but I think now you need to improve the editing so it all flows perfectly.